Why is there a harbor seal walking around the office?
Oh, that's our new CEO.
Come again?
Well, apparently they didn't order through EasyCater for the board meeting, and when the food didn't arrive, they kind of lost focus. Next thing you know...
We have a seal as our CEO. Did I say something wrong?
No, she just wants a mackerel. Here you go.
Bad ideas happen when there's no food for the meeting. So make sure it's on time and as ordered from more than 80,000 restaurants. How? EasyCater.
Thank you. I just got promoted.
Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
This is the men's room.
Get it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The Trippers, the Grasshoppers, the Hip Ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Hello to our friends jumping on at Boston's legendary rock station, WAAF. Also, 97.9 CPR Rocks in Biloxi, Mississippi. And our friends at 105.3 The Bear in Blacksburg, Virginia. Big show for you today. Your guess is as good as mine. The categories will be some of the funnest cities in the United States of America. We have popular ice creams. Ask the Men's Room is also on the way, and another round of profile. This, in the meantime, it is the random question. 844-999-OLA.
All right, before we get back to Patrick, real quick, you were talking about a couple went to the same store on 3 different occasions and stole hundreds of dollars worth of diarrhea medication. Mm-hmm. Also, the woman of the couple on surveillance is holding her stomach. We just assume she has diarrhea. So comments come in. It says, diarrhea meds are used to get high. Look it up. I'll believe you. It says a lot of cocaine dealers used it to cut their drugs.
I was going to say something.
Could be like that. Let's see.
Man, I sure am pooping a lot.
Then they add, I hate that I know this, but I've known people that have cut their coke with diarrhea medication and then finally destroyed the bathroom at a Carl's Jr. in Vegas. But back to Patrick. Hello, Patrick. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hola. All right, let's see here. Patrick, let's go with this one. Maybe you know, maybe you don't, but or maybe you have a general idea of how this went down. But I think with Ancestry.com and all the other things, people are getting a better handle on it. But quite frankly, just how did your family get here? I'm assuming you're Irish?
No, I really don't know my heritage too much. I know I'm part Norwegian, but you know, I'm really not sure. I've always thought about that. I never looked into it or anything. But my last name is Filbert, F-I-L-B-E-R-T, like the silver nut. Okay. And I just always thought that was kind of an odd last name, right? You know, like I've never met anyone else with that last name. So I've always wondered did someone in my family, were they a criminal and they ended up changing their last name and, you know, moving out to Washington or whatever.
What was kind of funny is, you know, as a black guy, I know exactly how my family got here. But I will say that, I mean, that's one of those things where we're like, hey, bro, I know how we got here. But one of our coworkers, Ryan Castle, the drunk in charge, his wife a few years ago, this is fascinating, did an Ancestry.com thing for him, right, in this big notebook. And it's interesting. So a couple of things you find out about him. I believe he always thought he was Irish, but he's Scottish, or maybe it's vice versa. Also, his family has been here since the 1600s, okay? Most people's families obviously have not. If I'm remembering this correctly, and I now remember part of this correctly, okay? So keep in mind, his family finally settled down in Washington State. But that's not where anyone started. They come from Europe. They land on the East Coast. Apparently, his family for generations has been nothing but criminals. But not just criminals, but criminals where other people are looking for them style criminals. So they kept moving farther west, and essentially they settled down in Washington State because there was nowhere else to go.
Really?
I'm like, so you come from a family of hoodlums, but they have been American hoodlums for like 400 years.
I believe that based on everything you said. But you know, the weird thing is they paid a lot of money to find out something I bet he kind of already knew.
Deep down.
Based on the rap,
his family
were degenerates. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, he always seems to be like, you know, my family's a bunch of degenerates for the most part. So
but now we know, like, for 4...
And he includes himself into this mix. It's not like he's...
Yeah, but there's something different when you can say I'm one of the original American degenerates. His family has been here since the 16th. So what are you hoping the story is?
You know, I would hope that, well, actually, now that I think about it, there is a rumor, my mother's maiden name is Adams.
Okay.
I've been told before that I am related to John Adams, but, so, you know, you never know. I would hope that it's good things, but...
I would assume that anybody who was here with that kind of name, like if there was, I don't know.
But weren't there a million Adamses at the time?
But ultimately, all the Smiths are somehow related, right? I mean, aren't they? No.
Think about it, Smiths, and then so at least out of like Europe, your last name represented So you'd say this is Ted Smith, but maybe his father was a blacksmith, or he was a shoesmith, or he was a goldsmith.
Yeah.
So you just said Smith as a thing. Otherwise, Ted's related to a whole lot of black people.
Okay.
Well, I was going to say, and then Smith and like names like Jefferson was a lot of the slaves when they got freed would just take the names of the
Presidential names, man.
presidential names of whoever
Washington,
owned
Lincoln.
the plantation or whatever.
Uh-huh.
All right. Do you know how you got here?
Well,
I mean, like,
When two people love each other,
they
or get drunk.
They wrestle under the covers. Did you? I mean, family wise, do you know?
I mean, in my family, it's always been that we were a bunch of Irish people came over and then some Germans.
and what, like, landed in Boston or something?
No, I don't know. I mean, like my mom talks about like her great grandparents, and I think they were from Ireland. I want to say,
but where do they
lived in
land?
D.C.
Because it's one thing to say where you're from. It's another thing when you reach the shores. I know on my mom's side it was North Carolina. My father's side is Creole, so via I'm guessing France / Haiti / Jamaica, then the swamps. But that's about all you know. And there was a whole lot of stuff going on my father's side, as best we can tell.
Right. The reason we asked, how
You're
did your
light skinned with green eyes?
How did you must be from Haiti?
Yeah.
How did your family get here? Mariners pitcher Felix Hernandez, you know him, one of the best in Major League Baseball. He is set to become a U.S. citizen actually on today, this afternoon. King Felix will become a U.S. citizen. He is a native of Venezuela, which is a lovely place this time of year.
This time of year.
This time.
No other time of year, Howard.
He passed his citizenship test.
Nothing crazy going on down there.
Not at all.
Oh.
He's probably really happy about this. He will join 84 other candidates at a naturalization ceremony. He made his major league debut with the Mariners in 2005, and he stayed in the headlines, setting records ever since. He's one of the best in the game, but today he makes it official. He is a United States citizen.
He's going to miss those butts.
Which is very cool.
Hey, by the way, Patrick, who just called, because Miles, you said, Patrick, guess you're Irish, right?
I just assumed.
He says Norwegian. Well, he gave his last name. A lot of people chimed in and said, man, pretty sure that's actually an Irish last name. Okay. It might be Norwegian and Irish,
well,
bro.
with Patrick, I just figured, not trying to connect too many dots there. Get crazy.
Hello, Matt. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
Matt, how are you?
Very well, very well. I actually grew up next to Juneau, Alaska.
How was it?
It's one of the worst because it's so cold and rainy.
Okay.
Like 35-degree rain all year.
Oh.
I mean,
glacier.
But what do you do? Like, the weather's the weather, right?
Anchorage is
what
nice.
do you do? And, I mean, I guess there's not a whole lot of outdoor. I mean, is there anything interesting to do? The weather sucks, but is there something people in Juneau will just do?
Well, we were all, kids. So teenagers just drive cars.
Okay.
Drive cars and have sex.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go here.
I did one of those.
How about this one? What happened at the birthday party? What happened at the birthday party?
Oh, yeah. So, growing up in Alaska is kind of weird. Birthdays are like on a beach if it's sunny or if it's not sunny. And my mom had a bunch of inner tubes for the kids. And we were all floating around, and then I was like always wanting to get further out and be further than other kids and swim further and whatnot. I'm only like 5 years old or something, but I ended up tiptoeing around on the bottom and couldn't quite swim. I could see the inner tube up above me, and I was kind of like, my mom freaked out thinking I was dead.
Yeah, parents. My kid can't
Oh,
swim.
thank God he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we tend to get that
It's
way.
like, I'm going to the R-rated movie tonight.
Yeah, it was just like the inner tube's just sitting out there, and I could barely get my little arms up above the side of it, but she could just see the inner tube, and no kid.
Okay.
That's comforting. Hey, how old were you when you finally moved from Juneau?
Oh, I was 18, 19. I moved down here and spent the summers up there fishing still till I was 26.
Okay. Reason I asked what happened at the birthday party, crazy scene. Police say a 22-year-old man accidentally shot himself in the leg Sunday evening while inside a Chuck E. Cheese, sending people into a panic.
Keep in mind, it's Chuck E. Cheese where you know violence can break out at any moment.
Witnesses said he must have pulled out the gun or something because everyone just started scattering and running different directions. It was just frantic trying to get my kids unbuckled from a ride, said one witness. Everyone was panicking, running, screaming, grabbing kids left and right. Kids were jumping behind machines, hiding, trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, because there was a gunshot inside.
Witnesses say after the shooting, staff came around to make sure that everyone was okay and that all the kids were accounted for. And then the restaurant stayed open for business as usual. The man is believed to have gone to the hospital. There will not be any charges.
That's amazing.
I'm assuming he's there for a birthday party.
Probably.
The question is what happened at the birthday party, because we've talked extensively about this. You can you can walk into a Chuck E. Cheese, but I guess
I think he just shot himself by mistake.
Right. I don't
Well, he
think there
didn't
was
do it
a
on purpose.
conflict.
But I'm saying, right, it doesn't, like Thrill saying, there wasn't like a fight that broke out.
No, there was nothing. He just accidentally shot himself in the leg, but he sent everybody into a
But
panic.
doesn't that say a lot about Chuck E. Cheese, where it's like, look, a gun fired inside, right? And no matter how big it is, it's not that big. And sure, there's a little bit of panic, but I like the fact that the staff's like, bro, worse things have happened in Chuck E. Cheese. We're still open if you want to stay. And I bet you 80% of the people are like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like to.
You know the kids are cool.
Chuck E. Cheese had to be like, as a friendly reminder, like, you don't need to bring firearms into our establishment.
No.
It's a children's place.
Right.
And everyone tries to be. I will say this. There was
Play duck hunt.
went to a Chuck E. Cheese a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, for a different kid's birthday party. I rolled in, and, part of the knock is that they just had the worst beers available, which for someone like me is the worst thing, because I don't want to be there. The manager at this particular location, right? So I walk in, and I walk up to the little area that they sell beer, and I'm thinking they're just going to have, like, the crap. This guy was so excited, because I hadn't asked a question yet. He's like, hey, by the way, I won't say the brewery, but he's like, we now carry 3 beers from so-and-so brewery, and these were solid beers. I looked at him, I was like, right on. The manager looks at me, and he says, that was my call. I'm like, you're the man. You are the man. That
What
makes
kind
a
of
difference.
phony crap you want to put on them tap handles?
Oh, man. No, trust me. I was delighted. You could tell he was proud. But the funny thing was, then he walks away because he has to do something. Another employee walks up, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, all right, well, I'll take a whatever kind of beer. The problem was, then she was like, I'm sorry, you have to wait for the man. She was like 19.
Oh, she can't pour it.
Oh, right. So the 2 kids behind the counter can't pour the beer. The manager can pour the beer, but then the manager's dealing with some nonsense. Probably from a parent who had a legitimate question about whatever's going on with the party. So I don't know if that's universal among all Chuck E. Cheeses, but if you can upgrade your beer game, honest to God, the parents will be a lot happier going.
Yeah, they will.
That's the only thing I hear the parents pitch. Every time there's a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, the only thing that the fathers predominantly bitch about before it starts is the beer selection.
What could possibly go wrong with a more higher percentage alcohol in Chuck E. Cheese?
Nothing more. Nothing more. It already goes wrong.
Have a couple IPAs.
It already goes wrong. You can't. It's Chuck E. Cheese.
There was a fight, but they were drinking decent beer.
Right.
Classy fight. Classy.
It's a $7 spill right there. More of the random question coming up. 844-999-OLA. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Coming up, we'll drink and tell us where the shot of the day. Ask the Men's Room is back in. More of our random question. 844-999-OLA.
Random.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola, Bichola.
Hola.
All right, Daniel, welcome to the program. Let's see here. What do we got for you? Okay.
Hey, if it's all right, I would like to kind of add in to one of the other questions.
All right, what do you got?
Already asked.
Yeah, better be really good, though.
All right, so you guys were talking about ancestry, where your family came from.
Yes.
So 2 weeks ago, I went out to Kentucky to my grandma's funeral, and me and my cousins that I was meeting for the first time got to talking about my dad's ancestry, and he did the DNA test, and it came up saying that he and his sisters were only half siblings.
Oh.
And it also gave him a DNA match of a woman in Chicago that's supposed to be his half sister that he's never known about.
Wow. That's kind of crazy.
And yeah, I mean, it told us that he had some second cousins in Ireland, and we were messaging them, and they think that they know who his actual father may have been. And all I gotta say is, if you've never done that ancestry DNA, you probably should.
I do ancestry.
I don't know if I want to know or not.
So with that, though, now that you've made contact with the cousins in Ireland and everybody's cool, is this something where you think you will know them or at least be in contact with them to the end of your days? Do you plan a trip to Ireland? To me, the best thing you can do about this is say, hey, cuz, you don't know me, I don't know you, whether you like it or not, we're related, I'm coming to visit you.
Right. Yeah, and that's how I'm looking at it too. I mean, it'd be pretty hard to find the extra money to fly to Europe.
No, listen, man. Everyone can afford the flight. It's the hotels. Staying in a place is what kills you. But I'm assuming you already had an idea that you were Irish?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were, my grandma, his mother was half Irish, and
half monkey, yes.
Yeah, it looks like his father was Irish too.
Okay.
And you guys were mentioning how like a lot of the Irish would come to New York or Boston.
Sure.
There was a ton that as soon as they got off the boat, they jumped on a train straight to Chicago as well.
Oh yeah, Chicago.
Sure.
I want to say Chicago. As far as was it St. Patty's Day?
Oh yeah,
it's
massive.
It is one of the absolute largest in the world.
Read Upton Sinclair. All that stuff is pretty well documented there. All right, let's give you this one. Let's see here. And you would find it interesting. Those are great books. What part of you would you say used to look better? And what happened to the part that doesn't look as good anymore?
Like sometimes it's age, sometimes it's an accident.
Sure. I put on a quick 22 pounds when I quit smoking. Like, bam! And I just breathe. If I put on 3 pounds, it's great.
None of it in your ass. You're still an assless man.
Oh, it was absolutely my stomach and my pecs. I used to have a 6-pack back in high school. You know, I'd do like 100 sit-ups in a row. And, yeah, today I'm not going to ever put on a bra, but, you know.
But you could.
All right, how much money, how much weight what did you weigh when you were a senior in high school?
Oh, I weighed 165, I think.
Okay, because I do weigh the same as I did in high school. It's just proportionally much different. Where did you, like I had shoulders and
all
arms.
the weight's distributed,
chest,
right?
Yeah, right. Not anymore. So what do you weigh now?
185.
All right, well, you're not, I mean, dude.
I mean, how flabby can you look? Or are you a thin dude who just has boobs?
No, people won't think that. It's just, you know, I'm not as trim as I used to.
Well, look, man, none of us are as trim as we used to be, but at 185, it can't be, unless you're like 5'1".
I'm on the program now, though.
Right.
Yeah, sure. The reason I asked what part of you used to look better. A Georgia boy has been given a multi-million-dollar award after a botched circumcision left him disfigured permanently just days after his birth. Per the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the boy was awarded $31 million by the jury. Boy's family had filed a suit against Life Cycle Pediatrics after part of his penis was severed in the procedure. Ooh. Family's attorney argued the boy has a lifetime of anguish to deal with thanks to the error, which a nurse, midwife, and physician have been found liable. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess the only bright side to this, if there is one, you know, if that's, cause this kid obviously is an infant. So as he grows up, I don't know that he would know that his penis looks so out of place until he actually sees what everyone else's penis kind of looks like. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, $31 million. I mean, I don't know how bad it is. I don't know if he lost function or anything else, but they said disfigured.
From the dailybeast.com survey says the first ever study to measure medical errors in the perioperative period, meaning immediately before, during, and after a surgical procedure, has found that a mistake is made in every other operation.
50%.
The paper's researchers analyzed more than 275 procedures undertaken at a Massachusetts General Hospital, uncovering that a third of the errors resulted in patients being harmed. Patients' vital signs going untreated, and mistakes in medication labeling. Of the adverse drug events that could have led to patients being harmed, 30% was considered significant, 69% serious, less than 2 were deemed to be life-threatening. However, longer procedures, particularly those lasting more than 6 hours, had a higher rate of subsequent problems. You want to get in and get out of there, folks.
Yeah, man.
You don't want to be out too long.
That is terrifying. Mm-hmm. You know, because last time I went in for surgery, and I know doctors have to do this, so they explain again what the surgery is, but then they point out the things that can go wrong, right? Do you accept this kind of thing, right? And in my mind, up until 30 seconds ago when you shared that with me, to me it's that super low occurrence. You go like, hey man, I get it. Something goes wrong. These things happen. But in my mind, they're batting about 98%. And now you're saying, flip a coin.
Yeah.
Because last time I had surgery was in my face. And the only thing that he told me, he said, look, obviously you can die on the table. It's all that stuff. But as far as the procedure he's doing with the scalpel, we're awfully close to nerves. The way the nerves, they're kind of like a twisted rubber band. We're going to undo them. And what he explained to me, and that's the last word he used, because most people don't use this word, but he says, It is possible, although unlikely, and we're going to try not to do this, but if we nick this particular nerve, the left side of your face will just kind of go dead. It would just hang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he finished it with, and then when you do things like smile, it would be, and I quote, unsightly. Mm-hmm. And I'm laying there getting doped up. I'm like, well, don't do that. But again, in my mind, maybe a 2% chance. And now you're telling me it's about 50-50.
Yeah, every time you go all the way under, it's always kind of scary.
Would you,
sure.
Okay, but would you like to hear a recording from the moment that you went into the operating room until the moment you left the operating room? Would you like to see a closed caption picture
Absolutely
of
not.
everything that went down during your operation?
No.
You would not.
No, because, when you watch it on TV, the only thing they talk about is the surgery.
Right.
Every time you hear in real life, like you said, these long 6-hour surgeries, like, there's a moment where you're talking about surgery, and then the doctor's doing their thing, but there's nothing you can do. So doctor now starts talking about, did you look under those guys? Oh, my God. I don't know if it's 3 times. I don't want to know.
When the anesthesiologist took me in for my hemorrhoidectomy, like, look, I can see, I'm going to sit in this machine, right? And I see that my legs go up kind of like into stirrups.
You're not face down?
Well, I mean, no, not.
So wait, so you're out, but they put your legs in stirrups.
Yeah. And
then they have to roll your ankles
back. Well, I'm kind of
right?
back when I'm thinking about where my.
Wait, what position are you in when you're going?
I'm in this position, all right?
So your legs are up when they're putting you under?
Well, that was where I was. And then they might have moved me. But they also, I was like, what if my testicles get in the way? And I'm like, well, they'll move them out of the way. I'm like, well, how are they going to keep them there? And they're like, well, they'll move them and
tape them.
Hold them and tape them or something, yeah.
They're not going to hold your.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, first of all, I haven't eaten all night.
Okay.
I've got terrible gas.
Right.
Like I've been farting all morning long. You know what I mean? Like,
did you shower?
I showered, sure, and I had to shave.
I think you take like your partner's toothbrush and clean that thing as good as you can.
I shaved the whole entertainment and dining area, like everything. Everything had to be clean because like the whole thing.
They don't just do it.
And then, well, I don't know, but I
mean, I've never shaved that close to mine,
But I mean, just to watch what happened to me. Like, you know what I mean? I think I'd have to watch it. I think I'd watch the video. Even if they were saying, because I know they'd be saying like ridiculous things like, we got to get these guys' testicles out of the way.
Get the tape. Surgical tape.
Get the tape out.
Rip the hairs off.
Exactly.
Duct tape.
Yeah, I'd be cringing at just like, oh my God, look at this guy's ass.
Well,
It's the worst hemorrhoids I've ever seen.
But not just the hemorrhoid, but then your ass in general and all the rest of it. Yeah, I don't ever want to know.
And that's a private thing you had done.
Well, yeah, but I still like to hear the audio recording.
I mean, all surgeries are private, but yours is like private.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet that'd be funnier than hell. God. You're like, dude, so many put-downs.
Random.
Or you'd be impressed at how bad your hemorrhoids were versus the other. He must have the endurance of a gorilla. How is he not in tears?
But I would love him to say something really nasty about me to me, just rip a long-ass fart in his face. Here you go, Doc.
Think about the position they put you in. You had to fart through that entire surgery, man. Yeah. Why does anyone want to be a doctor? Hello, Mark. Welcome to the men's room.
Well, hello. Greetings and salutations.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, let's see what we got for you here, sir. Okay. All right. What was the reason for the arguments? What was the reason for the argument that led to the fight?
Oh, reason that led to the fight.
Yes, that one.
How many people were actually invited to the party as opposed to how many showed up?
Now, who was on what side of the argument? Who was defending the invite and who was defending how many people showed up?
Well, I was having the barbecue, and I was assuming maybe 6 or 7 people show up, a little small affair.
Mm-hmm.
And then the friends told the friends, and it was probably 25 or 30 people.
Oh, wow.
Who showed up.
You didn't have enough food for all these people, I'm assuming.
Well, we made it work, but it was like, oh, who are you? Oh, I'm his friend.
Yeah.
Oh, his friend. I don't know this guy, but...
So where did the fight happen? Did the fight start happening at the barbecue or what?
It was not really a fisticuff type. It was just a large conversation after it was all over. Next time, if we're going to have 10 people, that's 10. But if we're going to have 20 or 30, let me know.
Yeah, I'll buy more beer. I'll buy more food.
But at least you had the decency to wait. I guess that's what I was curious. If it's like, hey, who the hell are these people?
And there's also nothing wrong with having a nice little get together. That way, instead of making just hot dogs and hamburgers for everybody, if you want to throw a steak on, because you're only making 4 or 5 of them, you know what I mean? You can do that
now,
too.
Wait, does that mean you barbecue so well? Like, were people saying, hey, man, you need to go to Mark's because you barbecue that well, or just because it was a place to go and drink beer?
It was the place to go. It was just one of those days.
Okay.
I mean,
You'd be surprised,
it was a
though.
nice day and a nice weather, and I was throwing steaks on the grill.
But that
we wound up
doesn't
with
mean,
hot dogs.
please come and join me. I mean, like, I can smell my neighbors grilling, but I've never just jumped over the fence.
What
brought
about
the
his
kids.
friends just sending a text like, hey, can I bring Miles
That's
to
all.
grill? Is that cool?
Right.
I got a call from a buddy of mine, a guy I know. And
right.
He was in the neighborhood a couple weekends ago. And he said, hey, man, what are you doing? And I said, I'm not doing anything, man. I'm just kind of hanging out. He's like, well, I'm in the neighborhood. I said, sweet, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm at a party. You should come down and hang out. I said, all right, man, well, where's the party at? He's like, actually, it's such and such's wedding. And I said, I'm sorry.
That's not a party. That's not his wedding.
I said, what do you mean it's a wedding? I said, is it an open wedding? He said, oh, no, I'm invited. We're invited. You want to just come down, man, hang out? You can get a beer, so just hang out with us.
At someone's wedding.
I had to explain. I said, look, man, they actually made a whole movie based on this concept called the Wedding Crashers. What they are people who are uninvited, you see, to the wedding, and then they show up uninvited, and that means that they've crashed the wedding because weddings in particular, for the most part, you need to be invited to.
The very person.
Yes.
And
And I
in
explained
fact,
this. I tried to explain this
from
as
the
delicately as
time
possible.
you get engaged until the day you get married, one constant in the conversation is going to be the guest list. Right?
But this would be,
because
this
so-and-so wants
would
to
be
come,
the
this
person who would invite you to someone
No,
else's
he
wedding.
is. You show me the name. But it's just the idea of
It's
like,
like,
hey,
God
man,
damn it, you can't do that.
it's a unless you're the one getting married. If you're the one getting married,
You
sure.
can come in for the reception. We'll have plenty of food.
Was this, wait. Was it someone you even knew?
Yes, I knew the person
Who was getting married?
Yes, but it doesn't matter if
All
I'm not
right.
invited to the wedding.
It helps.
Well, yes,
No, only because you're right. Listen,
you better know the person you're at the wedding.
It's not that. It's you're still right. It's just the person who you said invited you. There's no guarantees. Oh, you never heard of this person because he would do it anyway.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm just asking to see if he.
I'm with you. When you told the story the original time, I was like, does he even know the people getting married?
Right. No, you're still right. It's just that guy. Hello, Darren. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola, Darren. Hopefully, you can answer this one. This is a tough question. All right, whether it was somebody you were dating or one of your own, when did you run into an ex? When did you run into an ex?
It's been a long time. I've been married for 20 years this year. And I'm still married, which is good. I would think probably high school. I dated a girl that went to a different high school, and we were actually still kind of dating. And I ran into her at somewhere I shouldn't have been. I was at a party with a friend that I was kind of being his wingman. And I ran into her at the party, and it didn't go well.
Because you lied about where you were and you were still kind of seeing each other?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the secret to being married for 22 years there, by the way, Darren? I'm just curious. You seem to be happy about it. What is your secret to living a long and prosperous marriage there?
Well, I just do whatever my wife tells me to do.
All right, that's fair enough. It's one thing, one law to live by. Yeah.
Like every guy's been married forever. Even if you ask my parents, like, why have you been together for 50? What's the secret? My dad's got to point to my mom, like, You're
going to love this one. The reason we asked, when did you run into an ex? Earlier this month, a guy in Mexico City, he hired a mariachi band to come to his house and surprise his girlfriend by playing a song underneath her balcony. He was planning on proposing to her at the end of the song.
No offense, having been to Mexico, a mariachi band showing up anywhere and singing loud, that does not surprise anyone.
Normally, a mariachi band only shows up in restaurants with American tourists.
When you're trying to just eat your food.
That's what I assume.
Yeah, right. But when the husband came out to see the band, when the woman came out to see the band, it turned out the lead singer of the mariachi band was, in fact, her husband. See, apparently she was married, but she had not told her new boyfriend that she was married, and her husband did not realize that she was cheating on him. So he and the boyfriend then got into a fist fight, which then led to the other members of the mariachi band trying to break it up. Unfortunately, there aren't any reports on where the relationships went as far as either one from this point on.
But can you get in a fist fight with the husband? Like, he's just there because you paid him to show up. He's the guy that should be pissed.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly.
The boy, like, what do you mean you're married? Like, I'm married to
But they
her.
both didn't know, so I think they're both equally shocked.
Right, exactly.
I get being shocked. I feel like the husband should be more shocked.
I also
Just
think
because
it seems like he gets to kind of win
I
this
also
one.
think there's a level of decency involved in a situation like that. The older you get, like, wait a minute, you didn't tell him that you had, and you're both looking at each other like, she didn't tell me she had a husband. You're like, well, I know she doesn't have a boyfriend, or you didn't tell me that either. Like, it's not either one of our faults. It's your fault right there in the middle.
I'd have been more upset. Like, you didn't tell me you were married to a man in a mariachi band.
That's right.
Yeah, it sounds like a bad movie. There's a mariachi band, but it's also the husband.
And you know what? If they said that's the plot, you'd be like, that's the dumbest frickin' plot.
More of the random question coming up. 844-999. Ola, you are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Your guess is as good as mine. Coming up, the categories will be some of the more fun cities in the United States and ice cream. Your guess is as good as mine. Coming up right after our random question. 844-999. Ola.
A couple of questions ago, I don't remember why it came up. We were talking about surgery, the idea, would you want to hear a recording of surgery, etc. This person comments, and to me, this is the ultimate nightmare. It just says, I woke up in the middle of a surgery because my IV blew. Now, I've heard very few, but enough stories about people that have woken up during surgeries. And just the idea that you cannot communicate to anyone that you are awake and yet part of your body is open and they're doing whatever they're doing. I cannot think of a worse thing.
That sounds awful.
I mean, right. I mean, we had a guy, I believe it was a caller actually, a couple of months ago, and he woke up during a surgery, and it was an hours-long surgery. It was a serious surgery, but again, they are inside of your body with sharp objects and soldering and all this. And I want to say his heart gave out twice. Like
oh, wow.
Because he's laying on the table in excruciating pain. You can't do anything to react to it. Basically, he died twice on the table. And when they finally brought him back, he explained, well, you know, part of the reason I gave out is because I was awake for about an hour before I finally gave up.
By the way, the inspiration for our story, and we just ran out of time to give it, what was the reason for the argument? A man in Indiana, he was jailed over the weekend after he was accused of reaching for his handgun in a dispute with his longtime friends over music.
Oh, yeah, we have that for profile.
Roger Washburn is 71 years old, and he's facing a charge of battery after the incident at his home in Indiana. Investigation began when a man told officers that he and another man were hanging out with Washburn on Friday night. The man told police they've been friends for 50-plus years.
Think about that.
They were talking when an argument broke out over a song and its artist. The man said the song they were debating was sung by Bruno Mars.
He said it was not.
Washburn said, no, that is not Bruno Mars. When the man showed Washburn proof that it was indeed a Bruno Mars song, the argument grew more intense. He told police that they both stood up and continued to argue until Washburn pulled a gun on him. The man said he responded to the brandished weapon by calling Washburn a chicken ass, and Washburn swung the weapon at him, striking the man in the face. Unfortunately, when he swung the weapon, striking the man in the face, the gun went off. The victim said he took a swing at Washburn and missed, and the gun then went off a second time. No one was shot during the incident, however. When asked why no one called police, the man said he and his other friend were shocked over what happened. They eventually decided to tell the police after a few hours. Police went to the home, and he admitted to hitting the friend in the face with a .38. He was taken to the Johnson County Jail on suspicion of battery and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. The report does not say what Bruno Mars song the men were arguing about.
I'm curious to know. You know, it's crazy because I read that earlier, and like it's coming up for Profile This. It's a ridiculous story, but the fact that they've been friends for 50 years, and I thought about my father very recently. He is 78 years old, okay? So one of his best friends, a guy named Sam, who is just a trip in and among himself, they met in kindergarten, okay? And to this day, they are absolutely inseparable, which is crazy to me, just how long they've known each other, like 70 years, whatever it is. My father recently went to his 60th high school reunion, okay? Flew down to Houston, went to it, and I said, how was it? He goes, man, it was really nice, and he shows me a picture. I'm like, that's not a very big graduating class.
What do you think?
60th. I'm like, oh, my God. But then he shows me a picture. There's this stunningly old woman there, okay? And apparently, this is what he's telling me, this really, really, really old woman that's there was one of his, like, biology teachers or something.
Oh, my God.
So he's like, but he didn't recognize her. He didn't know who she was, just figured, like a parent or something of the other old folks that are there. This old ass woman, you look at this picture, like certain people just command respect. Mm-hmm. She had that look. I guess she had said to someone, look, saw my father. Keep in mind, she hadn't seen him since he was a young man. He looks very different now. Is that Robert Hill? Guys like, yeah, right?
That son of a...
Bring him over here kind of thing. And he said, she reminds him who it is. And he's like, I remember her now as a teacher. She's still around, recognize him. But he said it was one of those situations where he shakes her hand and you're being gentle and like, hey, Ms., whatever. How are you? And he said it's one of those weird conversations where she wouldn't let go of your hand until she was done speaking, still made eye contact. And he's like, I'm 78. I felt like I was 18.
That's insane.
Yeah, but she recognized him, man.
Yeah.
She looked terrifying.
Random question, 844-999-OLA.
Random.
Hello, Justin. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches.
Hola.
All right, Justin. Let's go with this one here. All right. Justin, what do you think? What do you think has gotten worse over time? What in your lifetime has gotten worse?
Has gotten worse?
Yeah.
Think about your health, TV, food, you name it.
Your favorite sports?
It has to be right before my wedding.
What do you think has gotten worse over time? So did the relationship get worse after you got married?
Oh, no. The strain between my family kind of got a little worse. It's getting a little better now, but it got a lot worse.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. That often happens when people get married. Yeah. Okay.
I can dig it.
Well, give me the reason for the question. What do you think has gotten worse over time? More on the random question coming up. 844-999-OLA. And more of your calls in seconds.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.
How do you order food for the office these days? How do you make sure it's on time and as ordered? How can you get it individually packaged? How? EasyCater. When you order on EasyCater.com, the food comes as ordered and on time 98% of the time. And when there's a problem, which is practically never,
Thank you for calling EasyCater.
you can reach someone in about 9 seconds. How do you order 24/7 from more than 80,000 restaurants? How? EasyCater. Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.